Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 7th. I'm Mark Bowd at Real Estate Economics. We're grateful for those of you who are joining us this morning for today's webinar. This morning's webinar is going to deal with the Central Valley, specifically the North Central Valley. We define that as the combined counties of San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Merced. I visited this county a couple years ago. I visited it several times over the past few years, but a couple years ago it really defined itself as ground zero for the foreclosure mess that California was experiencing back then. Since then it has made some progress. There's still an enormous amount of distressed inventory in that particular market, but there is some progress, and we want to show you exactly what's going on in that particular market. Now this morning I'm actually going to be showing you some tables that and charts that I generate directly from our website. And I want you to know that that anything that I produce in these particular webinars, you're welcome to contact either Judy Duell or my associate Sandy Rivera, and either one of those will give you copies of the tables that I generate. So you don't need to feel like you need to go directly to our site and generate them. But we want to show you how to do that. Obviously, we want you to use our site. If you want these particular tables that I'm generating this morning, I'm happy to forward those off to you. One of the things I do when I analyze a given market area, in this case the North Central Valley market area, is before I look at any type of new home field data, it's important to me to really understand what's going on in terms of the economy. And so one thing I'm going to do before I actually pull up new home field data and transactions information is actually go to our website. There are parts of our website that aren't frequently used that we'd love to get a little bit more usage on, and I'm going to show you one of those parts this morning. Specifically, we go through a lot of effort to not only compile the employment data by industry for various areas throughout the United States. We basically have it for every major metropolitan area throughout the United States. But we also go through a lot of effort to provide our 12-month forecast for those particular areas. I'm going to log directly into my website and show you that area where you can actually pull that economic data, that job information I'm talking about. So bear with me while I log on to my website. I'm using a foreign computer this morning, so I'm going to be a little bit slower. And once I'm logged on, I'm going to go to this section up here called Products and Generate Online Reports. And it will provide me with a list of reports. Now I usually go to the new housing development reports and the housing transactions reports. I'll go to those in just a bit, but what I wanted to show you is this National Employment Report. Or reports that we do, where you can pull employment at the national level as well as at the MSA level. And it starts with going to a state, so we'll choose California. Within California, you can choose a given MSA or a series of MSAs. And in this case, I'm going to actually group three MSAs, the Merced MSA, Modesto, which is Stanislaus County, and then also Stockton, which is San Joaquin County. After I've chosen those three, by the way I choose those is if you just hold your control key down and then choose each window with the mouse, it'll skip over the ones you don't want and allow you to combine those. Once you've done this, what it does is it actually goes directly into your, once it generates that report, it goes into your information vault. And it stores it there for as long as you'd like it. And here's the overall end result. It pops up into an Excel spreadsheet. And here's a copy of that spreadsheet. Now there are three sheets associated with this spreadsheet: jobs, job tables, and job charts. The jobs is simply the raw database. Let me freeze some titles here and kind of take you through this. As you can see, we go vertically from January 1990 all the way down to our forecast, our 12-month forecast, which goes through May of year 2011. And it does that not only for the civilian labor force and for unemployment, but also for all industries, total farm if it's available, non-farm, and then the breakdown of various industries, whether it be construction, manufacturing, and so on. I'll take you to this jobs table where it summarizes this in a nice format here, where it shows you by category how each one of these have done, each one of these industries have done in terms of job growth or loss during the past 24 months. In this case, we'll start with May of 2008, compare that with May of 2009, and then finally the most recent month available, May of year 2010. We'll show you what those changes look like for the past 12 months and then for 24 months previous as well. You can see also we group total employment here, and you can see that overall trend that has occurred, as well as our 12-month forecast from 1990 forward. Now on the job charts table, there's all kinds of graphs and charts that show you exactly what's going on in this particular market area, where you can see this top row of charts right here, which goes on for all of the industries that are represented in this particular area. It shows the total number of jobs within each one of those industries. This lower set of charts shows the 12-month change in those particular industries. So just for example, I'll go to the total of all industries, and you can see that there's some seasonality in this particular market, which there usually is with agricultural-based areas. You can see the job losses that this particular region has experienced during the past several months. It's begun to level off, and we're forecasting some very mild growth during the next 12 months. And you can see that down here, where here's this horrific loss we've experienced. Now we're doing better. We're actually losing jobs still, but we're losing them at a decreasing rate. And we think that the very first month we'll actually see a job gain is around August or September of this year. It'll go into a positive job growth thereafter. And we think a new cycle begins, and we think that there's already elements in place that allow for this cycle to grow during the next 12 months. Now, it doesn't grow like gangbusters, but at least we aren't losing jobs anymore. Now, the job gains that we're getting here translates to a little bit of a gain up here, but it'll actually be a few years before we hit this high water mark that we experienced in year 2007 in terms of jobs. If you want to see the individual industries, here for example is construction, which is just absolutely nosedived and lost all kinds of jobs. It's finally heading up. You can see our 12-month forecast there still predicts that there'll be losses during the next 12 months. Here's manufacturing, where we're actually beginning to see a little bit of positive job growth right now. Service producing, trade, transportation, utilities, information, and so on. You can get that chart for each one of these various industries. Now there's one more row of charts that I will show you, which is shown right here. What this does is it gives a breakdown of how many jobs there are for various industries throughout this particular region. You can see the breakdown in a pie chart. You can also see it in a bar chart. And then the final two charts here show the actual 12-month changes. This is what it looked like as of May year 2010, the number of jobs that were created or lost during the past 12 months. And you can see that it's been not a very fortunate 12 months in the North Central Valley area. We're still losing a lot of jobs, though we have added government jobs, perhaps a residual from the census. And we're beginning to add professional and business services, which is a positive sign. Also a little bit of job growth in the other services category. Now, despite the fact that this looks awfully bad, it looks a lot better than it was a year ago. This is the 12-month change as of May of year 2009, where literally every industry, except for one, was losing jobs, and the one industry that had a gain was a very modest gain. So at least in terms of job change, we are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. It's still very ugly. We're still losing jobs, but at a decreasing rate, and we think we'll actually see some net positive growth on a 12-month basis sometime later this year. We also think that it'll take a few years before we hit that high watermark in terms of job levels that we saw in this market back in the beginning of year 2007 before things fell apart. That ends this first part of this webinar. There are two more sections, and I hope you'll hang with me as we go to those other sections. Thanks.